Good evening. Thanks everyone for coming. The first item on the agenda will be to approve the regular meeting proposed agenda. We'd entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hulse,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? All right. Then the next item on the agenda will be the public hearing for consider revisions to all services and fee schedule. Is there anybody here to speak on the public hearing?
You first want to open the public hearing?
Well, open the public hearing, sorry. You need a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Danilowski, second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. So then, let's open the public hearing and let's move on with our public hearing on revisions to all services and fee schedule.
Would you like some staff comments first, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Just a brief comment. Minnesota statute requires that fees be published and available to be an open hearing, a public hearing for the media and the community to review. We do this annually and present to you the proposed fee schedule. All of the fees you see tonight are included in the proposed budget that was approved as part of the preliminary levy last board meeting. I would highlight there, we give you a side-by-side so you can compare individual ones. Dan and I can answer any particular questions. The one thing I would note in particular was two changes, both in the planning and zoning area. Number one is the inclusion of the cannabis fees. So they're listed there for public information and review. And then also because of the changes with Baldwin, we did see some fee revisions within the planning and zoning department. I highlight those, and Lynn can answer any specific questions you might have in those areas. Obviously, the cannabis fee schedule, if you change it as part of the ordinance, we'll come back and amend the fee schedule itself at a later date.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So at this point, is there anyone here to speak at the public hearing on this matter? Is there anyone here to speak on this matter?
Commissioner Felber, we have.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Thank you. Step right up. Please identify yourself and for the record and address.
Brett Collier, Big Lake Township. I went through the attachment on here this morning for the public hearing for these changes, and I have a couple questions. On the attachment, page 5 of 165, it says no change at the top of the heading. Is that just for that page? Can you maybe scroll into that for me, please?
If there's, am I okay to answer that question?
Can she do
Yes,
that?
yeah, please.
If a department has no change at the top of their page, that means they did not have any changes to their fee schedules for the year of 2025. All fees would stay the same as they were for the previous year.
Okay, well, that was on the top of the first page. Did that no change mean for the whole document? It didn't, because there are lots of changes
Just
in
for
it.
that department that was head for. So each page has a different department. Yeah, there's a header for each department.
Okay, so that was confusing. On pages 6, 29, and 53 of 165, it's still listed 2024. On pages 13, 16, 24, 35, and 36, some of the items were yellow highlighted. I don't know what that meant for.
The yellow highlights are items that have been added from the previous. If there's a strikeout, that means those were eliminated. If they are in red, that also means they're added.
Okay.
Or new language was added to a previous item.
Because I saw some of them, I recognized the strikeouts. I saw the red as being added, and then there was some things that were red and highlighted. I wondered why that was different.
New language.
New language. Okay. On 18 of 165, the 2024 was crossed out, but it wasn't replaced with anything. On 33, so is it going to be explained what it is sort of as an average? Because you crossed out an hourly rate, and then you said it's going to be a combination of actual staff hours and benefits and mileage. So is this going to be an increase or decrease on an average that we're looking at?
That will be the actual cost,
Okay,
calculated each time somebody asks for it.
yeah, and I was wondering if that's gonna be an increase from what we're getting today, or if it's gonna be a decrease.
What's that?
I was wondering if it was gonna be an increase from what we're having to pay today, or if it's gonna be a decrease. Is that, it didn't mention, so.
I'm going
that
to guess that will be situationally dependent.
Yeah,
I would concur, Mr. Chair.
okay. On, page 35 of 165, it says that the changes will go into effect on October 21st and not the end of the year. So I was wondering why that one was different.
That is a solid waste fee, I believe. Let me get to the page. And it is noted in the RBA that that one does come into play earlier. Year 35, you said? Or 30?
Yes.
35. Lynn, is that wetlands?
Yes, that's wetland fees we wanted to put into effect now, after the board, if this got approved, instead of waiting till the first of the year. That was the only ones that would affect at this time.
Yep, and that is noted up on the top there.
Okay. On a lot of these, you've added a bunch of escrows. Are people not paying when they're being billed for these things? I was just wondering why that change occurred.
Part of it is best practices, but also, yeah, we've had, not necessarily with not paying, but delayed or, multiple billings, so it does get more efficient this way.
Okay. And there are a number of pages on there that were blank, formatting, so I'm just sort of questioning how, if I'm looking at the same thing that you guys are voting on today, it's sort of messy and there are just a lot of minor errors in there.
The line in, line out, yeah, is somewhat messy. The final fee schedule is pretty clean. That should be the other attachment, and it will look like it does online if you look at the online one.
Okay, online, different than what the attachment was in my
If the board,
agenda?
if the board approves it, it will be
Okay.
published, correct.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to point all those things out because it seemed a little, some people missed some things. It seemed a little sloppy in places. So hopefully everything else is correct. Thank you.
Yeah, as you sit down, sir, the blank pages on the end is a formatting thing where when you change it to PDF, if the actual original document had extra columns, it'll print a blank page, and so we apologize for those.
Simple formatting. Is anyone else here to speak on this public hearing? Anyone else to speak on the public hearing? Anyone else to speak on the public hearing? At this point, hearing none, we will close the public hearing. The next item on the agenda will be open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum?
Mr.
We have to
Chairman,
vote on we have to vote to close the public hearing?
I'm not sure you have to vote. You can just close it, but we do have a requested action on the fee schedule, I believe.
Okay, requested action on it. Okay.
Technically, Mr. Chair, you don't have to vote to close it. The board chair has that authority.
Right, okay, did that. And then,
So the requested action is to discuss and then consider recommended approval of the fee structure.
right, okay. So I guess at this point, we'd entertain a motion for that?
Mr. Chair, I'll move the fee schedule as presented.
Commissioner Danlowski, motions?
I'll second that.
Commissioner Gray, seconds. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd like some discussion. Just
Okay.
curious, under planning and zoning, the whole escrow piece, that is new. It's newer. I haven't noticed that before.
Sure.
So if you can just talk about that a little bit.
We can. Lynn, do you want to address it real quick?
Thank you.
Good evening. And so we looked at our fee schedule, we looked and compared it to the different cities and some of the townships in the area. Almost every city in the area was doing escrows. We were seeing that was quite common. We have a large planning commission. We have 7 members on our board of adjustment, and by the time you figure out staff time, publication fees, board member per diems, all the mileage that's involved, we're not collecting enough, so we decided to implement If the board approves it, the escrow, and then we will keep track of that, staff will, for time, mileage, and then whatever's left over would be returned. That's standard that we're seeing across the area.
So we're intending to use that as needed
Correct.
and correct. The planning and zoning department in the county is a fee-based department. Very little levy goes
Correct.
to your department,
Correct.
except for staffing.
Right, so we're trying to make sure that our fees represent what our actual costs are.
Right, yes, I did see some increases and different things, so to make sure that you're covering your costs,
Correct.
it's important. Thank you. I had one other, but now I can't find it. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. It wasn't that big of a deal, so thank you.
That it? Any other discussion? Mr. Holtz?
Yeah, I was wondering if we should amend,
You want to speak into your microphone, sorry.
oh, sorry. I was wondering if we should amend the motion such that the dates are corrected to 2025 as just a format, just a administrative piece. With the exception of the one date.
The wetlands.
Yeah, with the exception of the wetlands date.
I'm fine with amending my motion to approve it as presented with the needed required changes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'll agree to that.
So the amended motion is made by Commissioner Danilowski and seconded by Commissioner Gray. Do we have any further discussion at this point? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, none, motion carries. Now that I've struggled through the public hearing in some way, shape, or form, let's move on to open forum. Is there anybody here for open forum?
Yes, Board Chair, we have one person signed up, and that is Brett Collier of Big Lake, speaking on elections, County Road 43, and Grams Park.
Good evening again.
Hello again. Brett Collier, Big Lake Township. Loose ends, election integrity. On September 3rd, I spoke about election integrity. And to continue, as published in the Star Tribune on the 26th, several Minnesota counties are dealing with misprinted ballots, not just misspelled names and incorrect party affiliations, but missing ovals that need to be filled in by the voter. Some voters are receiving ballots with the wrong races on them, District 20A as opposed to 20B. Is it not the same people that are producing these ballots that program the scanning equipment that read the ballots? If not physically programming, verifying that the scanner's accuracy in both actual scanning and computation. Yet another reason to distrust election processes, the tabulation process specifically. County Road 43 construction, hydro seeding. On November of last year, I questioned the late hydro seeding of County Road 43 as the weather at that time was not warm enough for germination. And sure enough, the sides of the roads had to be re-hydro-seeded in the spring of 2024. Who paid for this? Some of these same roadsides I noticed were again re-hydro-seeded just last week, I guess 2 weeks ago now. Is this under warranty or who's paying for it? Grams Park prefab restroom. I spoke on this topic a number of times last year. On July 18th, 2023, the board was presented an agenda item for $150,000 to go towards the purchase of a prefab vault-style restroom with a total cost of $300K. It was later identified that this prefabbed outhouse could actually be purchased for $30K, 10% of the cost presented to the commissioners. I asked how this happened. It was not a typo, it was not a simple mistake. Who was responsible for presenting such items to the board? Have other overinflated items been presented to the board with funds allocated for them? I asked that an independent audit investigation be performed. Last week, I took a ride up to Grams Park to see this prefabbed outhouse, what it looked like. It's been over a year since funds were approved for building it, only to find that there's still just a portalette. There was a newly constructed picnic canopy, a couple stick-woven somethings, and a number of logs to climb on, but no permanent outhouse. I would like to see added to the next agenda a presentation that answers the following questions. Why has this prefab outhouse not been installed yet? Are there still plans to install a prefab outhouse? Where is the $150,000 budgeted by the board back on July 18th of last year? where is the $150,000 worth of America Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds? Has there been any disciplinary action taken, and what were they? Have there been any procedural changes made to provide for a greater, better oversight supervision so that errors like this are not repeated? And what are they? Has an independent audit investigation been conducted to see if there are other instances of overinflated budget items? Who conducted the audit investigation and what were their findings? And finally, while we're at it, what was the cost to construct the picnic canopy and other installations currently at the park? In my presentation, I have photos, which I will email you at the end later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was it. All right. So then, on to the next item on the agenda would be the consent agenda. At this point, we entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda. I haven't heard any changes to it, so I'm not aware of any.
So
Mr.
moved.
Chair, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Commissioner Phobie moves approval. Commissioner Halt seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. None. Motion carries. And the next thing will be announcements. Mr. Messelt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Just a few correspondence items first, and then just a couple announcements. First of all, in your packet, I did share with you information that was received from the recent meeting held by Xcel Energy and Form regarding iron air battery storage. It was good information, I think, as we see the transition going on at Sherco. It's good to keep information on that. Second of all, we did receive a letter from Xcel as well regarding Sherco Solar 4 announced project. They are actually requesting a letter of support. We have not done such in the past because we do have a regulatory role, a limited one on certain activities. Typically, what we've done is communicated with the Public Utilities Commission our ordinance and our requirements. So that's my plan, at least at this point, but I will pass this on for information. You can take a look at it as well. If you want a copy for your records, just go ahead and initial on the back page, and Keisha and I'll make a copy for you. Third, we received 2 letters from the St. Cloud Regional Airport Authority. The first letter was dated September 26, 2024, and it informed the county that the Regional Air Authority had passed a resolution to adopt a preliminary 2025 budget, including a levy for the Regional Air Authority operations. Upon receipt of that, the 3 counties that would be involved in this, auditor, treasurers had discussions, the administrators had discussions, and it was identified that it was problematic and perhaps potentially a timing issue to get this completed with such late notice. Their attorney for the Regional Airport Authority then was engaged not by the counties, but by the airport authority itself, and they then issued a letter on September 30th rescinding their actions, noting again the procedural, timing, and potential statutory issues, and would now possibly have discussions for the next year and consider it for a future year. So these 2 are passing around for your information. The letter, the first one was their action, and the second is the rescission, so that the board, you can take a look at those. And again, if you have interest in a copy, just let me know. And then fourth, for correspondence, we did receive from Scott County a position statement that they will be presenting at EMC, taking a pretty strong position regarding the paid FMLA and employee safe and sick time. So just for board information, also probably something you'll hear about at your district meeting, and then expect to hear more as it goes. Of course, this is dependent upon legislative changes, I'm sure, but it's quite interesting that other counties are also, ringing the bell on that particular issue. Switching to announcements, just a couple of things. October 6th, this coming Sunday, for your information, will be the 10th annual Pink Social. This is done on behalf of fighting breast cancer, with all proceeds going to the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. Several of our employees had asked that I share that with the community, including the commissioners. So I'll pass it around so you can take down the information. It is in, the actual event is in Excelsior, but they do have online activities and proposals. Second is Big Lake. We'll be having a Community Connect activity at the middle school on Thursday, October 27th. So nice community celebration for those who might be interested in discussing that. And then third, just to note that Tammy and Emily and I will be attending the annual Conference of County Administrators and County Human Resource Managers over the next couple of days. We are all available by phone and computer, but just want you to be aware that we will be at the annual conference for those particular areas. As you can imagine, these topics that we've discussed tonight will all be discussed in detail at the conference. That's it for announcements.
Thank you very much. So the next item on the agenda will be on the regular agenda to receive the American Rescue Plan Act ARPA updates and consider approval of recommended approvals and expenditures.
Good evening, Commissioners. This week we have three project expenses to discuss. The first is the HR Business Partner 2025 costs. If you recall, these positions were approved back in 2021, and we've been phasing them onto the levy over a number of years. And there's about a 10% cost that'll still be charged the ARPA. The remaining is now in the levy. And looking for approval of a $22,768.05 for those 10% of the position costs.
Okay, at this point, we would entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Danlos makes the motion.
I'll second that.
Mr. Gray seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. None, motion carries.
The second project is an IT cybersecurity project. If you recall, during our budget hearings, IT did not have this built into the base budget, but the commissioners felt it was a priority. So instead of adding it to the budget, we are using the majority of ARPA funds. It's about a $70,000 software that collects event log data and a range of sources, identifies activity that deviates from the norm with real-time analysis, and sends notification of anomalies to staff. So it's something that'll be our IT staff will be able to use and really increase their efficiency when there's threats. So that cost for ARPA is $53,000.
Okay. So, entertain a motion to
Motion to approve.
approve from Commissioner Holtz,
I'll second.
seconded by Commissioner Phobie. Any further discussion?
No, I'm happy to see we're investing in anything we can do to help prevent any malicious attack.
Outstanding. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. None, motion carries.
And the third project is our 2025 cybersecurity premium. As you know, we increased our coverage limit last year, so this helps us cover those costs to keep out of the levy for now, but it'll eventually have to go on to the levy. But for 2025, we're recommending utilizing ARPA funds up to $54,000. And we do go out for bid each year to find the best rate for that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Mr. Danilowski,
I'll second that.
Grace seconds. Any further discussion?
One question. To my understanding, that's something that MCIT does not cover. We have to go out and get our own coverage for those things.
They cover in a very limited capacity, so we do have to go out for bid for other services, other providers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? So, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, none. All right, motion carries. Thank you very much.
If I can just summarize, we have about $35,000 of ARPA left. That has been set aside for broadband projects. Were applications for the border-to-border program at the state. They were supposed to be awarded in July, and as of October 2nd, they have not been awarded yet. So I did call, and they do expect early October for those announcements. If our projects in Sherburne County are not awarded, we'd reallocate the $35,000 to another project. But just wanted to update you where we were at. We just have the $35,000 remaining.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
All right, thank
Done a
you.
Great job on that. Let's see. At this point, we're going to be in Commissioner correspondence, committee reports, upcoming meetings, and future agenda items. Who would like to go first? Okay.
All right. On September 17th, I attended the NACO Central Regional Zoom meeting. That's a lot of information that is shared across our Central Region area by the National Association. Had a community ed advisory meeting that evening. September 18th, attended the Bedote event at Fort Snelling. September 19th, had the county EDA meeting. There we had the introduction of our new Economic Development Director, Brian Fleming. Had an update from the city of Big Lake of the activity that is happening in that community in regards to economic development. Also got an EDA update from the county. That evening attended the airport ribbon cutting event up in St. Cloud for the new T hangar and the $1 million fire truck that they got federal dollars for to help pay for. I think they had said that their old truck was what?
25.
25 years old. So it was quite a rig to see. September 20th, had the Sherburne County Conservation Tour. Did a lot of things. We got to see some demonstration of some electroshocking of carp. Got to see some of the way that the county is working with farmers in regards to water and conservation and runoff. September 25th, attended the Innovative Childcare Solutions across Greater Minnesota Conference. A lot of really, really good information, and I think Brian is going to be coming to give us an update on that as to what the different areas in the state are doing to address the childcare shortage, and lots of really interesting ways to try to get people to get into the childcare field. And attended the Big Lake Township meeting that evening. And September 26th, we had our CMRP, Central Mississippi River Partnership meeting in regards to what we're working on to locate another bridge crossing. We are in our Pell study of that process, and also had conversation with the attorney that is representing us in regards to, do we want to become a 501c6 or a 501c4? And so that's some conversation we're still having. And attended to a handful of constituent issues, and that's pretty much it for me.
Outstanding, thank you very much. Who'd like to go next?
I can. September 17th, I went to the Clear Lake Township Board meeting, primarily because Planning and Zoning was there, giving an update to them in regards mainly to cannabis, and I was able to, over the course of time, I've been at 3 of the 5 that they've made that presentation, and they've been knocking it out of the park in regards to the presentations of the township. September 18th, which Rayanne touched on, the Bidet Cultural Training Day. She touched on the airport ribbon cutting thing on September 19th. Also on September 19th, I did the Planning Commission. September 20th, I also did the Soil and Water Conservation Tour, which is the shocking of carp and the Farm Family Barn. September 23rd, I did the NACO Agricultural and Rural Affairs Committee, which talked in regards to about solar and other things that involve the rural communities. September 26th, I was primarily a listener for the Shack Coffee and Conversation, was involved on mental health. September 28th, we had the ribbon cutting for the Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge, the amphitheater that was up there. That's a phenomenal addition to that, the Wildlife Refuge. It'll be great out there. Also on the 28th, I went to the History Center, their fall festival. The county had a great presence there with the Sheriff's Department and the Parks Department. The 30th, I took the new extension educators on a tour of the county. Agriculture, we went to fertilizer dealer, Minnesota Farm, U of M Experiment Station, where we went to Grand Irrigation, multiple farms, so we spent about 4 hours touring the county, get them familiar with the area. This morning, I did 2 County Connects meetings, and then I also did, why I didn't attend dinner tonight, was at the open house for Highway 24 and I-94 interchange. I think this interchange is going to drastically affect Highway 24 coming into Sherburne County. Primarily, the whole project is in Wright County, but I think we need to talk with our engineering road to see what effect it's going to have on us. because I think it's going to be detrimental. Lisa has a different opinion on that maybe in regards to that, but I think that's something that we need to look at and have addressed. The other thing Bruce mentioned, the forum energy and the battery thing, I am on the committee for that. Its acronym is MIND, Multi-Day Iron Air Demonstration Project. So Excel's appointed me to that committee for that. So that's where I've been at.
Outstanding. Thank you.
I can go next.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be good to dig into your transportation project, but you learn a lot the more transportation projects you dig into, and I've had a few going on in Zimmerman. So the NACO Central Regional Meeting, I think a number of us were on that. I had a Great River Regional Finance meeting and then a board meeting following that, firming up the budget for the year and doing planning, working on moving into strategic planning for the library system. Resilient Counties Advisory Board through NACO met, and they do a lot of connecting with FEMA, and we learn about a lot of communities that are having horrible situations like we had just recently in Florida and going up toward North Carolina. So some of our county people are all dealing with those situations, so keep all of them in their thoughts, as the chair asked us earlier. St. Cloud Airport ribbon cutting, it was great to see the Sherburne County show there. I don't think there were any commissioners from the other counties, which I found interesting. The Regional Airport Authority was a heavy lift over the last number of years, and one that you all worked a lot on, and some of us were connected to that for many years, and something that we just realized was critical to capitalize on our investment in that airport. So it was great to see all of us there and see how it's progressing with the new authority. And we have 3 appointed Sherburne County residents that sit on that. So I think we can be proud of the work they're doing. Livonia Township meeting, similar shout out to Mitch and Jerome, who presented on cannabis ordinance and the HHW facility and other things. And then Brian, new economic development direct coordinator, was there. I had a Region 3 leadership planning committee, so quarterly, in addition to Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, we meet with Career Force. We have 11 counties joint powers board that I chair, and then we also meet with the Career Force, who are Benton and Sturgis County, and that as a region. So another layer of government to plan on things that are in common in your area. I find it interesting that an 11-county group meets with a 2-county group. There's some great challenges there, as you can imagine. Went to the Princeton Chamber meeting. Princeton Chamber met at the William Stingman Funeral Home, did a lot on talk about end-of-life planning and things like that. It was very, very well done. Did a great job hosting us. Had many, many constituent visits, as you might imagine. AMC Executive Committee met today, and you'll be seeing Bruce, Julie Ring will meet with you at the conference. A lot of our discussion was finalizing the budget that I've shared with you over the past meetings. So that's moving forward. And then also was at the Sherburne National Wildlife Refuge ribbon cutting for the amphitheater, which is great. You've got to go out there if you haven't seen it.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
I'll just highlight just 3 quick things. One is attended the open house for the new pilot project for the open air battery system. That is by definition a technology demonstrator. So it's a small project, but in and of itself probably won't have a significant economic impact on the county, unless, of course, other things come along with it, such as manufacturing or some larger project. But it's nice to have a technology demonstrator in the county regardless. Second thing is we had our EDA meeting a little over a week ago. That was our first meeting with our new economic development director, and he's doing a nice job of picking up where Jessica left off. So it's been, I'm pleased with where the Economic Development Authority is moving. Obviously, our key focuses remain on attracting business to the county, and then the ancillary pieces around that attract businesses, childcare, workforce housing, and affordability. So that continues to be our focus. And then finally, this was our week to have our meeting with Congressman Emmer's team. We had a discussion with them. One of the key topics I brought up that for them to follow, and they're planning on following up with us, is discussions around cannabis and what that means. We've gotten to the point where there are enough states that have legalized it that we need to, as Commissioner Felber has reminded me many a times, we need to address at the federal level as well. So those are three key important three key important points I wanted to bring up. The other thing I wanted to bring up is actually didn't have anything to do with Sherburne County, but as several folks know, several of us do have ties to the area that got hit significantly by the hurricane, and it's the devastation that we've seen is dramatic, and our hearts go out to those folks. But I wanted to bring up a point that while a lot of us were sat and watched, that evening, Commissioner Felber was organizing search and rescue through social media. So I wanted to give him kudos tonight for not just sitting back and watching, but taking an active role. So thank you very much. That's me.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for that. So going last, you have the opportunity to either be really brief or to prattle on inanely. So I'm going to choose to be really brief tonight so we can get out of here. I went to the same NACO regional meeting as others. One thing that I did that was different with our audit. The audit of the county's finances came out as an unmodified clean audit. So that's exactly what you want. We don't have any ducks that aren't in a row. Everything is fine. We went to the Learning from Place in Bedote with the Dakota people, which was a great program. I went to the Xcel Energy Open House discussion of the iron battery system, which is really fascinating because it is an actual 100-hour battery if it all functions well. I did sit on the Emmer previously mentioned, the St. Cloud Airport ribbon cutting, soil and water conservation tour. I sat through on 9/25 a webinar on public funding for coal-affected communities held by a group called Reimagining Appalachia, which basically was just some more ways to get public funding. I'm attending more stuff on that at the end of October, trying to figure out ways to bring other energy sources or other funding into Sherburne County as part of our loss of our coal plant. I went to Orrock Township where I was able to actually help with the discussions on cannabis solid waste in the EDA. I listened into the CRP meeting, as I always do. Went to the ribbon cutting at the Sherburne County Refuge Amphitheater, which is really cool. And then today I did the County Connect meeting with the Sheriff's Office staff, where we meet with our staff to talk about their concerns and give them information on what we're working on and try to make Sherburne County a better place to work. And that would really be all I have at this point. So hearing nothing else, I would recess the regular meeting and we'll move to the open workshop unless somebody wanted to break before the open workshop.
Yeah, if you want to take 5 minutes, just make sure we have staff ready, that'd be
Okay,
great.
all right, staff's not here. We'll just take 5 minutes then, and then we'll open up with our workshop on